Alrighty, all right, just give me 1 second. 1 second. I don't know where my time went today, but at least I have sound. I should have sound. So let's see, here we go. Hi, hi, hi. I am just getting everything online here. Give me 1 second. Again, we're doing this live on Facebook and our website and on YouTube and on Instagram. Because why not? It's a Sunday. Let's get it all done with at the same time, right? I'm Linda with Seaporium. If you're new to me, you know that I'm a one-woman show. So it's not this big production, and it's not. It's an eclectic little shop here. It's all I can do to, do the bookkeeping and the merching and the landscaping and the maintenance and produce the goods. And, so it's a process here, and we do what we can. So if you like my kind of crazy and you want to support a small business, please, please, please share. And hi, how are you, Jan? Nice to have you here. If you're so inclined, give us a like, a share, a follow, subscribe, whatever it is, all right? I am working more with this piece, and as you know, this has been a process. It's been a popular look, apparently, and so I've been doing the same 2 looks now for a little while now, but that's okay. That's okay. That's what we want, right? We want people to like what we do. I hope you're doing something fun. Jan, do we have anyone on our other avenues here? Let's see. Hopefully it's all live there. It says I'm connected to that, and the player must be working, so I think we're good everywhere. I am an authorized retailer for Iron Orchid Designs. This is a lot of the product we'll be using today. This stencil here, though, this is the Royal Damask stencil, and I thought I pulled it out, but apparently I did not. It's a really cool stencil. You're not able to really tell what this is based on this little sample. I'm going to move this table back. Oh, I got something in the way here. But we're going to move this back, maybe get a little bit better view. All right. And we had our holiday weekend here, but as of usual on the far west end of Main Street, you wouldn't have known it was a different day. Although, being lately on a weekend, we actually had like 3 people come in yesterday. Yay! So I guess, having 10,000 people down the street did me some good. All right. That's what they clocked us apparently at the craft show down the street. So if you've been following this project, hello, Shannon, how are you? I have sound today, right? I'm good, right? I mean, Jan doesn't know, she's watching on Instagram, but it's an issue here. We're going to get rid of this banner because you know me, Shannon. It's going to be an issue. So we've done the striping after we sealed our Savannah Mist in flat, and we did our striping in a gloss clear coat by Dixie Belle, and it had just a drop of drop cloth in it because that's what we have the inside of the drawer sealed in. All right, and I'm not going to deal with this. I might try and peel this off, if anything, but it's the underside of the drawer. I forgot to grab the knob because it's one of the things we're going to be working with. That's the mold we're really working with today, but it's right over there, so it's easy to reach. So after that, we pulled out our stencil and we pulled through it with a trowel, basically. I mixed sea spray with the base color, which is Savannah Mist, and these are Dixie Belle products, okay? We're authorized Dixie Belle and Iron Orchid Design products, so. Now that everything is completed and it's dried, I'm gonna go ahead and start sanding this really lightly. I'm gonna get this messy stuff out of the way. And you don't have to use the sea spray, okay? Because we do have another product called Dixie Mud. But the reason I chose to use the sea spray is that I can mix it with the paint and I can still get the texture. I can have as little or as much texture as I want. I can make it really barely, make it more of a paint, maybe with just a little more oomph to it so you can get that old world painted look to it. Or you can have it a texture like this. There's two reasons I like to use the sea spray. Again, because I can put the paint in it, but I also think it's a little more durable. And I don't think when I'm using the sea spray that I have to worry about if it was like a metal surface. I really feel, and I haven't tested it yet, so don't quote me on this. Do your own testing before you take my word for it. But I really feel like the sea spray mixed with the paint is durable enough that if it was a project that you felt you would need slick stick for, I don't think you'd need to use the slick stick is what I'm saying. All right, so I'm just gonna, like I said, I'm gonna try and just smooth out the bumps, okay? Any of the loose pieces will also come at this point. And you don't have to worry about the grit. If you have, obviously if it's really built up, you could go with a really low number, which means a very gritty sandpaper. But what you want to be careful with, at least in my situation, is that I have these techniques behind it. So that's the other reason, like I said, like I wanted to use the paint mixed into my product because of these textures and stuff happening behind it. Normally when I'm doing a raised stenciling, it's going on first. Let's say like I've done it to the sides of a dresser, along the side, the end here. And at the prep stage, when it's all clean, before depends. Because, if we're just getting tannins come through, it doesn't matter if you prime first or you put on your raised stenciling first. Either way. And then I go ahead and I base coat, okay? If it's a surface where it's, I would need a slick stick, like glass, ceramic, or whatever. You definitely want to use your slick stick primer before you put on your Dixie Mud. But that's when I can use the Dixie Mud, is when everything's going to get painted afterwards, the same thing, okay? But because I have these textures back here, I didn't want to sit there and fancy paint all this Royal Damask, okay? So I need a little bit better sandpaper. This one just isn't cutting it. But when it's all said and done and I give it a good clean, okay, get rid of all the loose dust and everything. Again, just like in our other video, I'm going to be mixing, I use the macro pearl for my wash in the stripes, and then the most recent video is I use this interference gold for the stenciling on top, which was also the Royal Damask stencil. Stencil. The table is looking stunning. Thank you so much. Yay. Shannon says it's looking stunning. So this interference gold is a mica powder, and what it does is it gives it a shimmer much like the macro pearl, but in the right light it does get like a little hint of the gold. And of course, and I'm sorry with the holiday stuff happening this weekend, I just didn't take the time to do any lives, and I didn't do any videos on this, but it's super easy to do the foil. I just painted on my Stick With Me adhesive. I let it dry, and I was doing so many other different things that I let it dry probably a good hour or two, and it was still tacky. And then you just take the foil, all right, and you get like a scrubby brush, like a nylon brush, not like a wire brush, but something that's got a little oomph to it, and just scrub it right on. The pretty side faces you, not the white side. And wherever that stick with me is, so I can put it in a stencil pattern, and wherever that stencil pattern that has the stick with me in it will leave back that stencil pattern. Wherever the stick with me is and it's tacky, the foil will stay. Now, not just, this is the Dixie Shine is what it's called. I did sell the gold one, so we have to order that again. But it's something I normally have, right? And I do have it in garnet. I have it in copper and silver. And I also have a pack, all right? I have it where you can get all the essentials, because this was put together before the garnet came out. But to tell you the truth, I'm not sure how many people, I mean, garnet, which is a bright red. Let me see if I can reach it. It's not one of those that you're going to use a lot for your hardware, for your metal foiling and all that. But it is super yummy. It's super yummy for the holidays, or Valentine's Day, right? And then this pack gives you the copper, the silver, the gold, and the stick with me all in one package, and you save a little money with the bulking up. It's $69.99. All right, so now that we got them, since I'm walking around, let me grab my knob. Okay, it was just a simple wood knob. And we're going to be adding it to the drawer eventually. But we got to add a mold to it, because we're going to be, so we are going to somehow incorporate the seashells, because the original piece we had on the front of the dresser, the bureau, we had the big cameo filled with seashells, and the outside was a bit of scrolls. So this will get a little seashell. I don't, even if I did it in a resin and had, so, okay, let me back up again. My brain gets ahead of me sometimes, so please bear with me. I do knobs a couple different ways. I will use clay if I am just covering around the actual knob. If it's going to extend past the knob, all right, then I use resin. And to tell you the truth, I was planning on using clay, but now that I'm looking at it, and I told myself, well, I don't have a lot of room, but I didn't realize, you know, that not really pulling it up to the project yet, that this knob is really kind of super small, and I might want to use a slightly larger shell on there. And then we'll add maybe a couple more of the shells on the drawer, and that's really going to be it for the mold. So that'll be clay, but you know what? I think we're going to pull the resin out, you guys. Bear with me 1 second. I wasn't planning on this, but thank God for a mobile microphone. All right. Let's see. Let's see what kind of battery life. Oh, I got good battery here. I just changed the batteries on that again. And let's get our resin mold out. Our shell molds. Bear with me. Where are my shells? Flowers and that and that and that, and okay, we got shells. So I'm wondering if I did that large scallop shell, will I have room See, that's really going to be pushing it. Hitting the top of that, I believe. So maybe, even if I did the small scallop shell, it's still going to go beyond my little wooden knob. So we can use that. We can use this. I have no idea what this one is. Okay, this one right here. Okay, but it's kind of cute. It's kind of cute. It's kind of like coral. But I don't know if everyone knows that that's a shell. And we could use this one. It's a little lopsidasical, but what I don't like about this, okay, because I'm going to be setting this knob right into the resin so it marries in, and that's the best glue you're going to get, is it's not very deep right here. And first of all, since it's very shallow, and the way resin works is the deeper it is, it creates a heat. The thinner it is, it doesn't create the heat at the same rate. The deeper parts cure faster because of that heat. Now, if I had electricity in my back, I could heat up the mold and I could have better luck maybe to have that set in there, but it's such a thin amount that I'm just not going to deal with that one. So here's another option. I think the sand dollar could work if we kind of offset it a little bit. I guess we could offset this. No, I think, you know, it's going to be overkill, that scallop. I think, and even this is going to be kind of pushing it because it's such a dainty little piece. All right, so now we're left with the small scallop. We are left, this is again, it's very thin where this little part sets in, but it's raised up in the reverse. So I'm not going to use that. I could use this one, and we could just put a starfish over it. The starfish is always cool. All right, so between us girls, okay, I do have other molds, only because there's another company that had some. Oh, but I can't use them because I didn't clean it last time. And whenever you're working with resin, you don't want anything contaminating it that doesn't work with resin. And I'm pretty sure that this cornstarch that's left in as a dusting for my previous mold making isn't going to cut it, I think. And to tell you the truth, I don't know if I'm in love with these. The crab would work, but the legs are just too dainty, I think. The starfish to me isn't as nice. That shell could be nice, but I'm going to stick with the Iron Orchid Design ones anyways. So, what do you think? Shannon, Jan, if you're still watching, what do you vote? Anyone else that's still watching, please chime in. Starfish. Small scallop. Okay. One like this. I like this starfish or the small scallop. Okay. Or this, I don't know what this one is. The corally looking one. What say you all? What say the starfish? Let's see, the coral type one is fun, right? I really like it, but do you think it it resonates as a shell? That's the one I'm drawn to. I'm going to do it. All right, so whenever you're working with resin, I'm going to be a good girl. I'm going to be good, and I'm going to remember to get gloves since I'm walking around all over the place anyways. So my nose is always red now because it's just cold in here. And at some point I do have to put my floor heat on, but I swear to God, it's warmer outside, Shannon. It's warmer outside than it is in here. One of the things that I want to do is I want to prep this for anything, okay? I haven't really done anything to this piece yet. So the one thing I'm going to do, and obviously I like to use my white lightning to clean, but it's just a little piece of wood. And since we're going to go to probably, some of it looks like it's already kind of worn out to the actual wood anyways. Again, it was a handmade piece, I believe. And it looks like he might not even have gotten stain around the bottom side of the knob. So, you know. So we're just going to scuff it up. I'm going to clean it up. And this is just water. I don't like using the wipies because I think, you know, anything that has anything but alcohol is going to leave a residue, okay? Okay, let's dry this. And I'm going to get my alcohol and we're going to clean it. Whenever I'm working with, especially just the wood, whether it's a stained wood, it's got a little finish left on it or whatever, I do like whatever cleaning I do, I like to clean it with, in this case, it's just a small little piece, so it's just, I'm using the rubbing alcohol because it's going to evaporate, it's not going to leave a residue. And if there were any waxes, it would get really hazy and I would know I'd have to clean it some more. Some people say, well, it's wood, clean it with mineral spirits. And sure, but if you think about it, one of my big complaints about that is, what is mineral? Does anyone know what mineral spirits is? What its base is? The starfish is too, I think it does, but it's too big. Yes, Shannon thinks it's too big. All right, so I'm going to do the corally one, Shannon. I'm just doing it. I like that one whenever I'm working with the mold, but I always hold back because I wonder if someone else doesn't understand that it's supposed to be a shell. But I like it, so I'm doing it. And like the other pieces, it's going to be in gold. So I think all that texture that's on that one is going to translate really pretty. All right, so while this is going to dry up a little bit, all right, we're going to mix our resin. And I always mark my cups. I have an A cup and I have a B cup. Don't go there. Don't go there. All right, and because my B cup is got some buildup on the bottom, I'm not going to use it. Because the measurements have to be pretty exact with the resins. If there's enough built up on there, it might throw off my 50-50 ratio on this. And it might not set up right. And that said, I'm going to grab my glasses. I'm going to remember to take my gloves off to grab my glasses because there's a little bit of resin liquid on my gloves. And there's our A and there's our B. And I know the B is starting to get crystallized. I do need to get to the store and get some more. I try not to order on Amazon, but it does happen. So in the new molds, you do get measurements for all the different parts. But in this case, it's an older one, so I don't have those measurements. So I'm just going to fudge it. And anything left over, I could fill maybe a little starfish or that or both if I do way too much. So I'm just kind of getting on the floor here. Sorry if you can't see me. Let me see. Can you see? Kind of. You could kind of see there. All right. So let's do maybe I know 10 is going to be overkill, but I can't see any markings before my 5 on this cup, so we're just going to go to 5. All right, just to 5, not over 5. All right. And then we're going to get This one, where's my measurements? This one I can't see it very well either. Let me just clean it. Because it's hard to make out my measurements here. There we go. There's my 5. Now, depending on your surface, you want to make sure they're kind of even on your surface, because if your floor maybe even is not level, it could affect things, right? Okay, just to the 5. Actually, we can take our other little cup instead of ruining another one and just mix it in here. We want to get a little, before we mix these together, we're not going to have a lot of time. So I have a little popsicle stick. They usually give you 1 or 2 in the package. And we're going to put, doesn't matter, I don't think it matters which one you put in first, but it seems like I always put in my A first. Part A. And because we don't want to waste it, I'm going to try and scoop out all I can. If you were making a large batch, remember I said it creates its own heat. And the deeper it is, the more heat it creates, and so it dries fast. So like in a cup like this, if you were doing a big pour, like the large rose or the horse or something like that, right? You got to be careful that, so this is, again, the B is getting a little cloudy anyways. So I'm just waiting, I'm stirring it enough that it changed color, okay? It's still not super clear, but, and then we're gonna pour it in. We have more time with a small batch, and I'm making a mess, but that's okay. I can clean off the edges. We're not gonna fill it to the very top because we're gonna set that knob in there. So now I have some left over. And whenever you're doing these, I find that it's really important to take your little stirring stick or a toothpick or something and just make sure that the resin gets everywhere. It's really important. So let's go ahead and let's fill this little starfish that I like. Usually I do butterflies or something, and then I have even a little bit more, so let's take this tiny starfish and see if we can get enough to fill that in. Not so much, but it'll be enough. It'll be a skinny starfish. All right. So we can throw that out. I'm going to wipe off my stick. And I'm going to let this set up a couple minutes, maybe. You want it so that when you're setting your other object in it, a lot of times you can make, this one wouldn't translate well to flipping over, but like if you were doing the seahorses, there's one that mirrors the other, like the sea sisters, the mermaids, they mirror each other. So you could pour the one and then pop it out and then pour the second one, and when it starts to get thick enough to hold the, a little weight, but yet you want it so that whatever you're putting in can set into it, okay? 'Cause it makes its own like super durable glue. Let's see. I'd like to maybe at least see a little of the white start to happen. So let me see if I can get this view on here. Maybe not. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, that might work. So there you are. So it's poured in here, and it's poured in here, and it's poured in here. But we're waiting. They'll start to turn white in the very deepest parts. Of course, I'm assuming that my B part is not so old and crumbly that it's just not wanting to work. But we'll find out soon enough. If not, then I just have to go out and get a new box. But, you know, we don't want to waste it, do we? You know, it's about $19 for a box like that. And when you're doing this kind of work, you want it to set fast, right? So the important thing to read here is turns white and cures in 10 minutes. That's really important for this process. And you can do the long set resins, but then you can't use your mold for a couple of days, right? Or whatever. I don't even know it because I don't use those. Not that I don't want to. I just, you know, you can only do so much in a day. This girl can only do so much. Let's see. All right, so this is starting to have a reaction, the one that I'm actually going to use. I don't know if you can pick that up. So that you can see the starfish. So I'm going to go ahead and set this in. And just kind of hold it a minute. Actually, we'll just there. Because I didn't overfill the mold, I'm able to let that set all the way in, and it didn't really pour out. There's a little bumpy area, but that's on the back side. And we can just kind of let that set now. And now I want to move it, but I can't. Let's see. Let me try and do this carefully. Watch me mess it all up. Watch me mess it all up. You want it to be so it's pretty straight too. Okay, so I want to set this aside somewhere. It's level. And I do think I have another one of those molds. So we can start the clay molds. All right. If not, we'll start the glazing, and then those will be enough to pop out. All right, I don't see another one. So let's go ahead and start this glazing, because those will pop out in about a couple minutes. It doesn't take long once that heat starts to generate. Oh, I should have kept the gloves on to deal with these. So let's just kind of set these in here, and I'll clean them after. Once A hits B, it's a hot mess, you guys. So just so you know. All right, and I don't want to lose my original screw. I'm going to put it back in the tray so I know where to find it. I don't know why it is, but you know, you have like if you're ADD, you have your own little system, right? And that's my system. I have this stupid little metal tray on my desk that, you know, it doesn't hold much, but that's just where I keep my hardware. I don't know why. So this already has one coat of gloss, and we'll hit that again. What did I do with my gloss? Right here. And this was the pearl, I believe. So let's make a little bit of our interference glaze, like we did for the stencil. Maybe, was that it? Was that it? Right? No, I think that's the pearl. I can't remember what I used for the stencil. I don't think I made enough to save. All right, oh, so typically I would tell you tap this or bang it on the ground to break the seal, but it's our top coat. It's a top coat, so that's what you don't want to do. You can do it to primers, you can do it to paints, but you don't want to bang around your top coats. And I'm going to get a stir stick, because anything that's got a lot of these important ingredients in them, especially the gator hide, like in the primers, like stick to the guns, and the primers, shake them, shake them, shake them, stir them, stir them, stir them, okay? And then anything that's on your shelf a while, I'm trying to tell you guys, like, and keep note of this. Whenever you go down in your paint room or whatever, right, every now and then go through and turn them around. You don't have to shake them up, but it's a good idea to just at least turn them around, and that's a way of mixing all the ingredients, okay? Oh, that we want back, sorry. So we're going to take, just for this video, we're just going to do this part that we kind of sanded. So I'm just going to take a little bit. All right, and we're going to clean that edge. Now that resin mold that we just did, we don't have to worry about it. It can stay in there 2 days. It'll pop out. What you don't want to do is pull it out too soon. It'll start stretching when where it's not dry yet. It's not like you can hurt it a lot, but it might not go back to place super well after. If you're trying to bend it, you want to pull it out as soon as it's dry enough to pop out of the mold, though, and they're flexible. Either that, or you got to have a heat gun and be able to heat it up enough to bend it around your project without bubbling up your paint or your other, previous layers. It's all a process, you guys. I'm going to use the other end of my stick to dip into my Interference Gold Pearl X mica powder. All right, so get like a little scoop of that. All right. I should add a smaller container, One of those little shot glasses would be good. And it just gives like a real subtle nod to gold. In certain lights it shows up, like my video about that stenciling. Certain lights it just shows up nicely. You can see the gold. And then we're going to take like a really skinny little brush. I'm going to have another damp rag, all right? In these areas that I sanded already and they're smooth, that looks good. The other one needs a little more work. I'm going to just lightly dampen my bristles because we're working with gloss. Okay, that was clear coat gloss and the pigment powder. I just wet the bristles of my brushes so that your medium, whether it's the paint or your varnish, doesn't stick. And then we're just going to kind of go over the areas. If any gets, on the background, you can wipe it off. You can use it as a wash, okay? Which I think I actually did for this lady's piece. I didn't do it with the other lady's piece. The other piece, I think I kind of wiped over the tops of the stencil. The first lady, the one in blue, I think I did it more like a wash, but I didn't just like paint it all over. I kept it kind of tight. All right. This is the first lady's piece, is what I'm calling it. The white one, I did it more like I followed the... Because this is a little more, it shows up more than it did on the white. Like I did kind of white back a little bit so it just didn't get overpowering. All right. So that's how that's going to work. So it'll have a hint of a sheen, a hint of a gold in the right light. All right. But it's not going to be really loud. Okay. I'm going to put my brush in the water. So that's how that's getting done. Easy peasy. Any questions? Thank you, Shannon. Is that what happens? It crystallizes? Yes, I think it does. Part B in the quick set resin, it gets old fast, I think. Not to say that maybe my temperature could be an issue here. It doesn't get below 55, 53 degrees in here, depending. I think I was doing 53 for a little while. But now that it's getting colder, I don't trust it, and I'm going to 55. I don't want my paints to freeze, right? But yeah, sometimes people have gotten their resins off of the shelf in the store, and part B has got those little crystals in it. I believe it's just because it's old. I don't think that the temperature was a thing, and so that's my thought. I think it has a short shelf life. All right, so let's see how our knob is doing. No, it's a little cold, but I can move it without my little. Oh, no, I think this is ready to pop out. So what I'm going to do to test it is I'm going to bend it. No, see, it doesn't want to give, it doesn't want to, there we go. But it's kind of sticking on the edge here, so it's not quite ready there. If it's sticking to your finger like your finger's like kind of getting gooey with it, you know it's not ready. But these are, that one I know is not quite ready, but these feel like they should be done. Just a little bit more on the edges because it's cold in here. I think it's taking longer. All right, oops. I don't know what that does to my sound, but maybe now I sound better. My little filter foam thing came off. All right, so we're going to finish sanding this. We're going to finish washing on our interference gold glaze, right? That'll get done today. Oh, my table is on blocks to keep it out of the clay dust and the dirt and stuff from my table. And we're going to move this down to the ground so we can do some stamping, which again, I don't have the stamp out yet. Our pretty stencil. This thing is so pretty. Let me see if you're able to see this on here. Let's see. All right, so Facebook and YouTube can get a kind of a good view of this, I think. And Instagram, let's see what we can do for you. Don't mind my mess. All right, and we're going to bring this down. There. All righty. And let me grab my stamp. Sorry that I didn't have that out yet, but you know, all good things. All good things, people. Making messes. Here we go. Here's my stamp. It's a well-loved stamp set. Okay, I have all my masks separated here. And then we have all our parts. So we're going to make kind of a game plan. Because this is a piece that's going to be used, she's going to be putting her makeup on. Maybe she won't be using it as a makeup table. Maybe she'll be using it as a desk, as a laptop table. This can't be molds. This has to be flat. So to get the same effect, we're going to be using the stamps. So I'm just going to start throwing out some stamps here and see what sticks. Not literally, but you know what I mean. There's some stamps, I don't know, when you use some of these products, do you find that you favor some more than others? Like I love this one. This one's really, 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 really pretty. It's really pretty. The big spiral shell, I think it is. And again, because I did sort of a compilation, we did it like they layered over each other. I'm going to do the same effect, so it's going to take a hot minute to figure this out, so we might not get it all done on this video, but there's a quahog shell. Here's that shell again. So we're definitely going to tie that in because it ties in with the knob. Okay, so then maybe like that, or like that. Put that maybe under the starfish a little bit. And then there's just not a lot. Let's see. There is coral pieces, but I find talking about not using certain parts, like that coral is not one of the things I tend to use like that. Like I just tend to not use those. It was a nice idea, but it's just not something that I use. All right, we'll put maybe that there. So here's the thing. In my cameo that I did on her piece, because they were molds, I used a bunch of like flourishes to kind of highlight the cameo. But I can't recall of a stamp that has, well, no, I lied. Hold on. Let me get, can anyone name it? Do you know what I'm going to go for? I lied. It is, oops, dog toy. Not that. Not that. Not that either. Oh, is there something in heavenly that would work? No, it's wings and angels. But on the note of angels, do you know what I'm gonna attempt to use to incorporate the idea of the scrolls? Anyone? Shannon, any ideas? Reverie. So this one, see what we get? We do get the flourishes. So I can kind of go for my oval, right? And again, this one has many parts, and they've already been conditioned. If you're new to stamps, okay, it's going to be important that you remember when you first get them that you sand the actual stamp, the actual raised parts. They come on, it's a whole sheet, so it's easiest to do that when you have your whole sheet together. Let's see. I think we're going to keep it at that on both sides. Right? And then we'll have to come up with a little something in there. Ooh. Oh. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, hold on. This shell needs to go in here somehow. So maybe I will block off. Well, we can't have the hands go up there, I guess. Her one hand kind of goes up. So we'll just put a shell up there, that's all. Okay. And I'm sure between the Gen 1, there was Renaissance, was it, that has, or Nautica might have a cool little shell flourish that I can put on there. All right, so we're going to want to kind of measure this out. But that's kind of the general game plan we're going to go for. All right. Does this make any sense to you all? Pretty stamp, you forgot you have it. What, Reverie? Yes, use it, girl. So the game plan is your most foreground pieces have to get stamped first. Then you get out, oh, I haven't even used these yet. You got to find the matching, I should stamp these. Because something like this one, when it's in just its mask, it's super hard to see if it's the right way or the wrong way. Especially some of the flowers. So I find that it's easy just to go ahead and stamp them. If you're put together, which I am not, when you condition your stamps, and after you sand the whole thing, you sand your whole sheets, right? They come in 12 by 12, they were all together, they weren't cut apart. You take that sanding block or the sanding sponge that we have, like 100 grit sandpaper, whatever, and you just sand it, top to bottom, side to side, and then you wipe it clean. And that's the only time you do it is when you first open it. Then it would be a good idea while you still have everything in one piece, if you're not, you know, and maybe you keep them all in one piece. Some of my stamps I do. Then you take it and you find the matching sheet of masks and you flip it over and you stamp the masks. Okay? It might not be perfect. You might not get all of them but you'll get the idea. Okay? They'll match up well enough in a lot of places that you'll figure out which way the stamp goes, and if it falls on the floor, it's easier to find. Okay? But I think I have one of my flourishes in here. And it's going to get stamped anyways, so when I do my masking. So whenever I open up these stamps, or the transfers, right, they have that sticky tape on the back, that drives me nuts. It sticks to everything. So first thing I do is I stick it to itself, and then I fold it down, and I just leave that open, because it's going inside my bag after. So here's one of my flourishes. All right, it could be that one, it might not be, we'll see. Here's the other one. Probably doesn't matter if they're mirrored images, right? Okay. So those are those. So those will be the first ones that I stamp. But we got to make sure that, and then what we'll end up doing is when the paint This has not been sealed yet. I prefer to stamp whether I'm using inks or paints for my stamping. I prefer to do it on the regular, on just the chalk paint. I haven't stamped on the silk paint yet. But anything that's got a good seal on it, it's going to be hard to get a nice, crisp stamp impression. So this is something I am actually, you know, I'm all for eyeballing it. Oh, let's see how our molds are doing. Oh yeah, it's popping out nice now. So look at, okay, boop. And that's okay, you can see that the knob is there, it's dark, but we're gonna be painting that, don't forget. And it's flexible right now, so I wanna be careful that where I set it down, that it doesn't get set down, you know, where it bends it in a weird way, unless I want it to be that way. I paint a lot, you know, if you watch my other little quick video, I tape the butterfly wings open. See, this has a little bit of excess, and it just, you know, that was so thin, it just, you know, pull it right off. This one might take a little longer because it was on really thin. There we go. And for some reason, I actually do have a little overflow there. Okay, so that's it. Now I can use this in another project. I have a little cup that I keep these little extra pieces in and sell them. All right. And again, we'll press the clay into these molds, into a couple of them, and add to the knob on either side, okay? But I don't think we'll get to that now. We're knee deep in this stamping now. So, roughly center 35, so 17 and a half. So that's roughly center right there. 18. Okay. But we want this to be at the same angle, right? So that's about 8 3/4, 8 3/4. All right. That's about, oops. Well, not quite 8 1/2. Oh, here we go. Oh, so this is going to be interesting because it's got these different parts. We do need to kind of keep more with this, not so much this. All right, it's not like it's a oval, it's not like it's a rectangle. So I'm going to be more mindful of trying to keep it even with this opening versus the other way. So if I keep this about here. All right. It does, you know, if you want to be perfection, go ahead. This is about as perfection as I get. Okay, so 6 1/2 and about 6, so yeah, it's close. Six 5/8. Yeah, all right, that's good. And then that should give us room to do this side. So let's do that. and do this. So that is about 2 5/8. And that's pretty darn good. So this is what I'm going to do. I don't like to mark up something like this. It's not going to be busy enough. And even though I like to use my watercolor pencils, it's just not going to be enough for me on this. It's going to leave a little pigment on here, and it's not sealed, so it's going to soak right into the chalk paint. So I am going to do a mark like that's where my flourish kind of goes up. All right, wait, we'll do it so that this little point up to like, and you don't want it to exact, well, we can't. We'll do it to those 2 points. Because we got to leave room for our actual stamp to happen. And then again here, we'll start it at, let's see, this point. To that point. Okay. And then this gets put right there. It's roughly centered with that. We'll put a little dot here. We start them here. Right? And roughly here. Okay. So here we go. Once I get these all stamped on, all right, I'll have my whole, we'll mirror it on the other side. And then we're going to use all the masks, okay? And then on top of the masks, right, we'll be putting tape around to fill in so that when I continue stamping inside, okay, let's say I want to go right off the edge with that, okay? We don't want to get stamps over these for one thing. That's why we're using the masks. But if we go past that, it won't go on to my rest of my tabletop either. I hope that makes sense, but I know that we're not going to have time to do this all in this video. So we're going to be building. This is our first layer. It's the foremost, and everything's going to sit inside of it. So, you know, if we decide, I like this, I do like this one. You know, that one could probably go right into, right? Because we know we're going to be doing that one. I love that one. And then the next time we could maybe put this one in, as long as it doesn't hit with these, okay? So we can probably fit that in. The rest I'm gonna wait on because I'm not sure how we're gonna go from here. This is gonna be my centerpiece one though. I love that one. And instead of using ink, which is my favorite go-to, we're going to use the actual paint. And I don't like doing this. But, oh, and it's paint, so we can stir it, we can shake it, and we can stir it. We can do all the buns. let's see, what does, Shannon says, oh my God, I hate that sticky tab at the top of the packages, right? It just seems to get stuck to everything. And the next thing you know, I'm throwing F-bombs everywhere. In my private place, the F-bombs are fluent here. They're just fluent. I'm really bad with that. So let's get a little bit on here. And I want to be a little extra careful because I really don't want to go back and repaint this whole top, not with all the stenciling and stuff too, right? But if I have to, it wouldn't be the first time that I've had to start over, okay? It's not going to be the last time either. Just, you know, just trying to save myself a little extra. We'll see. We'll see. You know me, Shannon. Let me see how my battery's doing. This camera's going to jiggle a little bit. Sorry. That one's got 2 bars out of 3. And that one was solid, so that one's good. All right. So, oh, I buried my stool. All right. So let's get our masks out of the way. And we'll get this one out of the way. Oh, brayer. Oh, dear Lord. Okay, hold on. Right over here. And we want water. So, chalk paint is a lot thicker than ink, okay? And it dries super fast. And since it's a water base, we can mix water in with it. Not that you would use oil-based products with these stamps or anything, but just as a general rule to kind of keep you, why did I put water in there? If I'm using oil-based products, I'd put mineral spirits in, right? Or if it's an oil paint, what is it, the oil that you put in there? You put oil in, all right? Turpentine, I think, is an oil, right? If you're using, I think, lacquers, you put alcohol in as a thinner. Inks, I use when I'm painting with my inks, or if I want to thin it down, I use the rubbing alcohol. So water-based, you can thin it with water. And this is also, even though I thinned it, I'm still on borrowed time here. And I'm going to want to have wipies handy. And I should have had, I've got this little bowl of water. And since we're only working with the small stamps, that should be good for this video. But usually I like to try to have a bowl of water handy so that I can put them right into water, maybe give it a little scrub, have a little scrubby. Because even though it's sitting in water, I find that the paint kind of sets in, just sitting in water too. And don't let it sit on your brayer too long, because then it's hard to clean, even with the scrubby soap. And if you guys aren't on the scrubby soap thing yet, Shannon, I don't know if you've tried scrubby soap, but oh my God, the stuff is amazing. I love it. All right, so let's go ahead and do these. All right, I'm just going to be brave. I'm doing it. What's the worst that's going to happen? It's a Sunday. I can just, you know, I can do it again if I have to. And because it's paint, I don't want it to go on so thin that I don't get any time either. And you don't want to have it on your back side of your stamp and yada, yada, yada. And we're just going to hover. We're going to kind of line everything up like I said I was going to do, right? There we go. You hover over the piece to line it up. And then once it's down, you don't want it to move. And if you haven't moved anything, you can see your progress. Okay, it didn't go all the way to the end here, so we might have to do a little fix, but that's okay. So here it didn't get on the end. So if I wipe everything else off, right, I'm going to go ahead and give it a wipe with the paper towel too. I'm just going to hit that flourish on the ends, okay? Oh, I see another spot too, the inside flourish, the tips. Again, because you got to work fast, and I got space heaters spotting at me here, so, you know, it's a thing. I'm going to wipe off where I don't need, and I'm only going to hit the areas that need it. So I don't have to worry about trying to match up the whole stamp. I'm just trying to hit the areas that need it. All right, that and that. And then wipe it. Because it doesn't take long for this chalk paint to not only set on here, but it gets clunky. All right, so now, if we don't have any paint on here, I can set it down in our new spot. All right, and get that kind of going. All right, so let's do our other stamp. Okay, hopefully I didn't block anyone too much with that. But you know, you hover, you don't want to place it down until you know you're ready to go with it. And now I don't want it to move. So like I tell everyone, I keep one hand down in a fixed position while the other one can kind of go around and make sure that everything's getting touched down, right? But you don't want to like squeeze it down so hard that it distorts the stamp. Let's see, that looks good. Okay, and it's okay if it's a little different from the other one. It came out a little more vivid, that's okay. I can always take a part here and there on this one and give it a little more oomph like I did on the end there, just to kind of make it look better. But these might come out slightly different from each other, and it'll be just part of the look, the rest of it, right? Well, like the rest of this is kind of faded in and out. I think it'll be pretty. And if I don't like it, I do it again, that's all. All right, so let's see if we can get to a point of masking anyways. We don't need to mask here, it's just not gonna go all the way. Okay, and we're gonna wipe this. Actually, we're done with that one. We can put it in the water after I wipe it. Okay, let's do this one. Let's make sure this was what, 2 5/8, I think. Yeah, that's pretty there. Okay, and this one. That's more than, so we got to come out a little bit more. Oh, that's probably a little bit too much. Let's see. I'm talking to myself now. And that's better. So now again, we're going to kind of just make some eyeball marks with our paint-friendly tape. Let's do these two. Goes right there. To there. Okay. And that's going to go right there. Right? Maybe we can actually kind of get it to go like that. There we go. All right. And then okay, and these. Thank you for your patience if you're still with me and just trying to get everything lined up. Okay, because if I don't get this lined up, then it's all for naught, right? All right, and again, and every now and then when you're working with the paints, it's a good idea just to kind of hit your brayer with a little bit of water. If I had a little chip brush, I would do that. Let's see. Let's just kind of tap it with this. Just so it's not drying on there, okay? It does set into that rubber. It's kind of a pain, but it does it. That's what it does. Okay, let's do that one. Try not to do it on your work surface, your braying. And if you're doing inks, yes, you could just tap it on with your ink pad, but I still prefer the brayer. If you follow me, you know this. Okay. Oh, I forgot to put that marker down. Shoot. All right, I'm just gonna. I know that was there, so. Hopefully it works out. All right. So, yeah. So we have a little bit, again, on the top of the flourish that didn't get paint. So I can fix that later. You already saw how I fixed it before. We'll just take off all the paint around and just add the paint on this part of the stamp and stamp that back down. All right. But I am going to be mindful and try and get a lot of this paint off right now. And it's too big to go in my water bowl. So let's go ahead and hit this. I don't have any on the backing, so we're good to go. You can put these on, is that like that? Yep, okay. On like an acetate block, I just prefer not to. Oops. Hopefully that didn't set down enough. Because a lot of times these pieces, you know, you have grains, you have maybe something was heavy on it and it sank in the center a little bit. And those acetate blocks, those big blocks that you can put stamps on, don't bend, where these thin mounts bend nicely and conform. Let's see what happened with that. Oh, it lucked out. Okay. And then wipe that down because it'll be easy for me to forget. Sorry about this. It just, if I let this sit on here, I'll regret it in my work sink after this video. This is why I don't prefer to use the paints, only when I got no choice. Okay. It's coming together nicely, don't you think? Hi, Linda. Hi, Jackie. Ocean stuff. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And again, I just kind of hit this with a little bit of water to keep it fresh. Let's go ahead and stamp this. This is like a sister piece to that other blue piece I did, Jackie. And we got a sister piece to the white piece we did to match the blue piece. I'm just going with it. We got to start somewhere with this collage, so you might as well just start with the big centerpiece, right? Now everything I stamp around it will be behind it. This is going to be like a nice big focal piece in the center. Oh, that is so pretty. Even with the paint. Now paint, in my opinion, is not the ideal solution with stamps because it's hard to deal with this part of it. Okay, getting in and all, especially with all these little fine lines cut in here. All right, I want to see what I can put in there. But, you know, it is what it is. So let's go ahead and start masking and do a couple pieces with the masks on. So you can start to see what I'm talking about masking. I didn't know any of this. I don't come from a crafting, I mean, I could craft, don't get me wrong. This girl can craft, but this wasn't like my thing. Like I didn't do stamping and stuff like that before. I'm gonna put this in water as well because, oh no I'm not, because we're gonna stamp something real quick. Let me find that mask, because we're going to need it anyways. Where did my masks go for? I just had them out, didn't I? Here they are. You know, I also saved the parts that, like the open parts, because you never know when you need a stencil that shape, right? You never know. And sometimes you can color the background in. See, so now, we're going to get one more. And if you overlap it a little bit beyond your actual stamp, you can create like a little bit of a border. So sometimes it pays to actually stamp a piece of cardboard and purposely cut a little bit larger than your stamp so that you can get like a border around your stamps. But at least now when I put these on, any stamp that I put on from now on, it's not going to interfere with these stamps, right? So let me just go ahead and put that there. Now, if I stamp right now with this, I'm not going to worry about this large spine shell because any part that goes on, it's on the mask, not on my stamp. And so my spine shell will be in the front. I like this one so much, I think I might do it over here somewhere too. And it really will help tie in that drawer pull that we did. So see, look, it went kind of over the spine shell, but no, it didn't. All right, that's how you use the mask. If it went over here, that would be protected. But like I said, we want to keep outside of this protected, so that's where, you know, tape is going to be handy here. So I'm going to start putting some tape pieces down. And if I want to keep this all, I'm going to go ahead and just tape over this whole thing because I don't want whatever shells, right, to kind of go past my flourishing. All right, I can put maybe pieces of paper around and just kind of lay them around. But at least with pieces of tape, it's not only holding down this mask, but it's not going to lift up when I put other stamps over it, right? There's a little piece that didn't cover the mask right there. All right, so now if I stamp, you know, part of a shell here, all right, I would put something here, but I'm saying I don't have to, you know, like I can go like this now and I can stamp and it's not going to get onto my table. It's going to stay inside of my little cameo here. All right, so I hope that explains masking a little bit, but I don't want to go on forever and ever, ever, and ever. Let's see. Oh, here. All right, so let me see if we have any questions. Nothing on Instagram. And let me see here. Hi there. Let's see. Jackie, this is so helpful to watch. It's a thank you so much. Oh, that's Shannon that said that. Thank you for that. What am I rolling my brayer on? Who's asking that? That's Jackie. This is just a piece of acetate sheets or whatever they're, I got, it was probably like a 12-pack or 20-pack I got on Amazon a while back for classes so that I could put out little bits of ink. So when I do a class, when we get them rolling again, I'll have a table out when we're doing stamps, and whatever inks I think we'll use, I'll put a dab on one and a dab, another color on another and another color on another, and each one has their brayer. So when someone wants to use the black, they just bray on that. And when one wants to use the blue, they'll use the blue one. All right. So that's what that is. I don't think they were very expensive, and it was on, like I said, on Amazon. They're not glass. They're like a plexiglass, or I think it's plexiglass. It's like a plasticky glass, whatever. So that's it, you guys. Thank you so much for your patience, for staying with me. If you have any questions in replay, let me know. If you like my kind of crazy, let your friends know by sharing. Give us a like, a follow. You know what I've noticed, and Jackie, you might be one of them. Shannon, you might be one of them too. I get all these, you guys watch my pages, and if there's a reason, please let me know, but because I'm just curious why, like even like you, that you follow me a lot, whenever I go to see if there's anyone that likes my pictures, I can invite them to like my page. And you guys are not the only ones, okay? And I'm not even sure it's you guys, but I know it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they don't like my page yet. And trust me, Joe just did it not too long ago, because even Joe had to, you know, you gotta like the page. Because it'll say invite, or it's shadowed out and it says you've been invited, but you haven't accepted my invite. And all that does is it grows our page. So maybe other people will say, oh, maybe she's kind of good. Maybe I should watch her videos. Help a girl out here. I appreciate you though. You know I do. You know I do. But just so you know, maybe you don't even know, but you can go into my page at the top on Facebook and just hit like or follow. I'm not even sure what it is anymore. Sometimes it's like, sometimes it's follow. I don't know how that works. On Instagram, go to my profile. Hit on the top, just hit follow. If you're on YouTube, please give us a like and comment on our videos. Subscribe to me. If we can get to 1,000, then these live videos can go public. Right now, my live videos only stay to the people who subscribe to me. So, there's that. I would, greatly appreciate you guys. Greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate you guys if you could do that. And if you like the stamps, it was a bit of a tease because I don't have the seashell stamps anymore. You're going to have to hit someone up, one of the other stockists or retailers, whatever you're calling them, for the seashell stamp. They retired that, and I am now out of them. But I do have seashell molds, and we have mermaid molds too. They're called Sea Sisters. So if you like the coastal thing, the scrolls were part of Reverie, which if you don't have that in adornment are like go-tos that you should have. That and like Rose Toile, kindest regards, like that should be part of your staple goods, you guys. Because it's just got like just some basic things that you're going to use for crafting and furniture in a very classy style. All right, we do have some of the holiday things still left. I have one ginger and spice. Oh my God, did you see the videos and the pictures of my little ginger and spice gal? Oh my God, she's so cute. She's so cute, but she's over there and I'm trying to wind it up. And I'm going to not be ADD today. I'm not going to be ADD. But it's just, that we have one ginger and spice mold left. We have a couple pumpkin ones left. Hello, pumpkin. I have a couple winter adornment ones, which if you're not on that, like in the same respect, you get these pretty scrolls and things like that. Winter Dormant, yes, there's one of the stamps that has poinsettias in it, and I think there's a couple actual holly leaves, but the rest of it's pretty general. Like if you're a woodsy, if you like cabin, lake life, winter themed items, doesn't have to be just the holidays. Like Winter Dormant should be in your stockpile, and it's limited edition, so grab it while you can. If you have any questions, just ask away. I'm always on and I'm always watching. And thank you, shopseaporium.com. You can find out more about all these products too by going into the menu. Not only hit to shop, but you can also go to the menu and hit products and services, and you can look up the different products that we have here. And that's it. I'm off for a couple of days, and I got an IOD TV that I have to kind of give a little more thought to before I even get out of here, let alone finish this up. So this girl's got to run. I got to go. Let's see. It's paint. So it's ink, not paint. It's paint. I'm working with paint on this. You'll double check for sure. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. Just make sure that you've liked or subscribed to us. I would really, 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 really appreciate it. And that's it. You guys stay safe till I see you again. Stay safe.